just could you give us overall thoughts on the preseason and what are your goals for this season?
Goals for the season are to win. I think we underperformed last year, and I think we have a really talented group. Um, so our goal is always to win the Shield and then to win the championship. Our preseason was great. I thought it was really long, and I thought we had a lot of games that we could, play before the season started. And I think it kind of shows our growth. We have had spells in the first and the second game where I think we've looked really good. And I think that is like a testament to Jonas and all the work we've put in this preseason. So, I think we're still building, but I think you've seen glimpses in the first two games of how we can perform. So we're just excited to keep it moving.
And you're one of the few players that's still around from that first year. What do you think is the culture that you built then that you've brought to now, and how has that developed over this time?
Yeah, I think Kaylin, Mackenzie, and myself have, because we were here year one of expansion, we kind of just still have that gritty underdog mentality. And I think a lot of the players we brought in are super technical and super talented, but also still have a bit of that. And so I think we just have a really good, tight knit group, like no egos. And I think, year four, and it's still that. So I think we've kind of just maintained that mentality this whole time.
And you got some young defenders that have joined the team. What are some of the things that you try and put onto them as they grow in their career?
Yeah, everyone we have is super talented, and I think the NWSL is just its own beast. So I think just kind of dealing with the physicality and the pace of a lot of the players in the league is just something that's like a little different from the college games or other leagues in the transitional aspect. So I think we've just talked a lot about organization and shape under the ball.
And you got Orlando this weekend. What do you expect? Is that one of those games that you circle because you know they're always one of the best teams?
Yeah, I mean, we're looking forward to it. They obviously are super, super talented and have had a lot of success the last year. They're always a really tough team to play. They have great players. So I think it just will be a good test for us. I think we're excited to play a top opponent and, see how we bode versus them. So
I was gonna ask. I know we were joking about them being really scary good, but so are we. And I'm just curious, like, what sort of preparation does it take this week to really make sure you guys are confident, ready? I mean, the NWSL, we know any team can win any game, so don't look at the stats. Like, just curious how you prepare yourself mentally to face off a team that everyone talks so highly of.
yeah, I think it's a bit of a balance of fo- focusing on ourselves, but also like a little bit on them too. We don't want to do too much one way, but I think we have done a good job in preseason of establishing an identity. And so, looking at Orlando, we do want to stay true to our identity and play our style of play, not let them dictate that, but also be mindful of, the great players they have. So,
And is there anything that you bring from Saturday's game? Obviously, it was like so positive for so many different reasons. Like, what do you take from that when you now have to go on the road and play someone else at their home?
I take the whole first half and say, let's just do that for a little bit longer and on the road. Obviously, easier said than done, but I think like the glimpses that we showed are so positive and it shows how dangerous and fun we are to watch. And I think, it'll be a true test going cross the country playing against a top opponent. But I think, we do have that in us. So I think it's just sustaining that for a little bit longer and yeah, doing it versus a top opponent.